Welcome, everybody. We are back with another episode of the Uncivilized Arts podcast. I'm your host, Bumi Hazan, but I go by Bandit Haze in the online space. And this is the first podcast of 2024. We're going to be talking about some things we've been doing, going to be talking about some things we're looking forward to. Main thing we want to talk about today is GTA 6 and some of the well, not even just some, but as much of the speculations as we can and the rumors and things we want to see and stuff like that. But it's good to be back, and I am back once again with my man Sweet Bundy. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, even better now that I'm here.
Awesome, man. It's been like I said, I was saying we were talking before. It's been a few months. It was Spider-Man across Spider-Verse podcast that we did as the last one. I want to say October. Like I'm gonna have to double check the actual date, but I feel like it was late October, maybe early November. Either way, it's more than a month
It was
ago.
around that.
It was a little while ago since we've done a podcast. So yeah, good to be back, man. Appreciate you making time to come chat with me about geeky things. You know, of all the millions and millions of things you could be doing, you chose to be here and chat with me for a
I
little
want
bit
to be
about
here.
geeky things. So I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. But yeah, so we're going to talk about GTA 6 a bit later on. So maybe we want to talk about today. Before that, talk about some things we're looking forward to over the coming year, or maybe some things that might be out already that we're doing. We'll see. But before that, what you've been watching, what you've been playing, what you've been reading, what you've been doing, what's been occupying you over the last few months since we spoke last on the podcast.
Well, I don't remember if I had told you, but I started Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh yeah,
And
We talked about was it having sex with animals, I think.
well, not me. Thankfully, I didn't have that happen in my playthrough, but I did have something even weirder than that happen.
All
And
right.
I'm not going to say what because it'll be a spoiler. So all I got to say is I do highly recommend people play it. I've beaten the game.
Okay.
And honestly, um, it's debatable, but so far, out of all the games that I've played, I think this might have been the best game that I've played
Okay.
personally.
That's.
Um,
I mean, best
it,
game like of the year, or just best game like ever?
no,
What are we talking?
ever,
Okay,
ever.
so it's really you really highly rated then from you.
Yeah, because
Okay.
beyond the whole jokes that people joke a lot about, oh, you can have sex with a bear or whatever. There's so much lore, and there's so many ways that your story can really unfold. It all goes to the same point, pretty much. I'm quite sure there's different endings, and I've only played it. I've only beaten it once, and I already started on my second playthrough. Now, mind you, I have over 200 hours into this game in my first playthrough.
Okay.
So I don't know if that speaks any volumes, but I highly recommend it to people. If you could go ahead and understand the combat system, everything else is just going to flow so well. It's such a good story, great characters, great voice acting. Uh, the graphics are nice, the cinematics are nice, everything. I love that game. So other than Baldur's Gate 3, I've been playing Shadow of War again, right? And Shadow of War is a game based on Lord of the Rings. Now,
Oh right. Okay.
I
Yeah.
never
I think I know
watched
the one you're talking about.
the series or anything or read the books, but I know the tidbits, the very popular stuff, the
Mm-hmm.
memes and the references and everything. So I do know that there's a connection with that game and the lore. I've been playing that again, even though I already beaten it before. It's a great game. Uh, and surprisingly enough, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, but not the Fortnite that you would expect, where it's just shooting and everything. Fortnite recently um, implemented a game mode that's inspired by the Rock Band series or
Oh
not GTA, but Guitar Hero.
yeah.
So
Um,
I've been into that because I love rhythm games.
I believe it's by Harmonix who do Rock Band, right?
Yeah. So long story short, and I might have some details screwed up.
I might be
What
getting that name
happened
wrong, by the way.
was what happened?
I might be getting that name wrong. I think it's Harmonix,
No,
but I
no,
might
no.
not. Is that right?
That was
Oh,
correct.
that's
Yep,
okay. Cool.
yep. Harmonix had this game come out not too long ago, and you've seen me play it before. fuser, where
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
mixing songs together, stems from songs to go ahead and make your own remix or your own mix. And because of the management of that game, it failed. Like it failed bad. And when things were looking terrible and looking like everything's about to just shut down, that's it. Epic Games came around, uh, and they bought either a portion or the entire realm of harmonics. Now, I don't remember which one is which, but either way, it's that or the other. They bought that and they had them develop Fortnite Festival all this time since then. And it's been like over a year or two since it's been shut down. Um, when Fortnite Festival came out, they also stopped releasing new DLC for Rockman 4. Now, mind you, that is an incredible record of how long they've been releasing DLC for Rockman 4 because Rockman 4 came out years ago. I say since 2015 or 14, somewhere around there, maybe even 16, but either way, that's a long ass time.
Yeah.
And Rock Band 4 was already, you know, it was kind of a mess compared to the previous games before then. But I think this is all based on bad decisions. And the only reason why Rock Band 4 was still alive, in my opinion, is because of the community and because uh, people who grew up on these games, if you have the means to play it and you paid all this money to have these damn controllers, these instrument controllers, you're not going to let this game go. And as long as you're still giving us content, we're still going to consume it. But there were a lot of terrible decisions on Harmonix's part. So I was really excited to see what they're doing. And so far, Fortnite Festival seems to be, going up and up. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And plus, they're also releasing um, their own instrument controllers, but you can still use your old ones, so you don't have to pay another $60 to $80 for a new controller.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. I mean, you could, especially if you do have one of the old controllers from back in the day or whatever, if it still works and you can plug it in,
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about, because especially if you have to buy a whole new controller, it's not even just about the price, I guess, at that point as well. It's just the space that you have to make for it and what
that
you do
too.
with the old one, and so the fact that you don't have to worry about that, you just plug it in. That's pretty cool. But do you
Yeah,
think then that like what they're doing with Fortnite, like the Fortnite festival, and with the instruments and being harmonics being involved with it, do you feel like that has the potential just to become like a replacement for Rock Band? Like Rock Band just kind of goes away and it just becomes Fortnite festival.
absolutely. Because this is Fortnite is huge, is massive, and it's been attracting. It attracted so many young people and everything, and those young people got older, and now their little siblings or their own kids are playing it too.
Mm.
Fortnite's been around for a long time, and they've just been evolving, expanding, and getting all these different game modes. You could do pretty much. I've seen people play horror-based games on Fortnite. They have racing on Fortnite. So with Festival is starting to attract people like me who would never play it, right? Never had any interest of playing it. I've played Fortnite before, don't get me wrong, but it got old really fast. And I went back to it when they got rid of well, they didn't get rid of it, but they had a no build mode.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's just strictly shooting. So I played it for a little bit. It got old and I left it. But now that you're bringing something that I grew up on and you're doing it right, yeah, I'm very interested and I've been hooked on it. And they're releasing not just they're not just releasing any type of popular song. They're actually kind of digging the crates a little bit and trying to add some variety to it. So you have Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, for
oh yeah, yeah,
example,
yeah, I know that song.
or
Echo
the
Sun.
TikTok song. Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and it sounds great. It feels great playing it on the controller because you could go ahead and choose the way how your mapping is on the controller, and that's great. you know, um, because Their controls, in my opinion, I didn't really like the default control settings. However, I was able to change it to how it was back in the day when Guitar Hero 3 came out. That was the first rhythm game of that nature that I played, right? Of the whole Rock Band guitar series, right? I mean
Yeah.
Guitar Hero series. Um I set my controllers to match that old one. So it was easy for me to get into the game and play it straight on the difficulty that I want to play it on. Yeah. And I even heard stories where now kids are telling their parents, "Hey, they added this thing or whatever." And now the parents are like, "Okay, I'll play it with you."
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Family time, right? Quality family time.
Yeah. So I feel like this is really gonna go somewhere. It's not like Fortnite is gonna release this and it's a dud. They have too much money and too much talent, and so far their management is superb with the decisions that they've made.
Okay, that's really cool. I mean, Fortnite for me has always been like a game where I just kind of felt like I wish I liked it, you know,
Yeah,
because it always seems to be doing like really cool stuff, whether it's special events or whatever, or just things that it always seems to be like really cool when you see what they're doing. But then when I played the game, I never, even when they did the no build, I tried a little bit of that, and I just couldn't get into it. Um,
yeah.
but I don't know, maybe I'll try out the festival bit and see how I feel about that. I mean, I never really got too much into the Beat Mania games, as I used to call them back then. Bomani games. That's the old. I'm showing my age right now. I'm showing my age right now. No, but I used to call them
Nah, but
Bomani
I know
Beat
what you're
Mania.
talking about.
But yeah, I never really got into that whole kind of rhythm games. I think I did play one of the Guitar Heroes on the PlayStation Portable. And I remember getting pretty okay, actually, at least with one of the songs. But aside from that, I wasn't really into it in any kind of big way. Um, but yeah, you could give it a try and see how I feel about it. And I'm assuming it's I mean, 'cause I know Fortnite is a free download. I'm guessing the
Yeah.
expansions are. I assume you have to pay for all the cool songs, but you
Well,
can get something for
actually,
free, or
so they've done something that is, you know, really really good. So
okay,
basically, you don't have all right. So the way how Rock Band and Guitar Hero works, well, I could say Rock Band for sure. They'll release a DLC and they'll say, "Hey, you could buy this song and then you could play it." However, when you go online and you play with other people, they have to have the same DLC in order for you to play that song with them. So if say me and you are playing the game online, I have the DLC, you don't. Now when we're picking songs, I cannot pick that song because you don't have it.
okay,
However, with Fortnite,
yeah,
they'll have it to where first off they have rotations of songs that would change out every week, right?
right,
Either every week or every day, one of the two.
uh-huh.
And they'll let you play that song for free even if you don't have it, right? So that's one. Then
Oh, so there's a
two,
section of songs you can. Right.
exactly. It's like, you get to have fun and enjoy the song. And if you want it, you could go ahead and buy it. Um, and if you buy it, you could use it in that game mode or a different game mode. Yeah. So the second thing that they did that was great is that let's say I buy the song, you don't buy the song, but we go into the lobby to play and everything. Because I bought that song, now you can play that song.
Okay, so as long as we're in the same lobby, or if we're playing together, if you have it, I can play that same song, even if I didn't
Exactly.
buy it. But of course, I guess then, of course, if once we not playing together, then I just don't have it, which is fair, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's still pretty cool, though. That's
That
still
it's
pretty cool.
amazing because the other way, they used so back in the day, because of how harmonics had it, is if you get into a lobby, I remember before I bought a lot of DLC, I used to get I used to have people leaving the lobby because I didn't have enough DLC. And I get it. I get it because you don't want to play the whole same X amount of songs that's on the base game. And plus, the base game usually doesn't have all those great songs. They have some good songs, but then after a while it gets tiring, it gets
Yeah.
typical. The DLC is where it's at. So when I didn't have all that DLC, people leaving the lobby, I'm like just forced to buy DLC or hope that I run into somebody that doesn't have that much DLC or doesn't care that will actually play multiplayer.
You know what though? Like, I feel like Epic Games kind of miss a trick a little bit, and perhaps this is just me not understanding business very much. I don't know. We'll see. But a few years back, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, they bought um Bandcamp. You know the website Bandcamp that
Yeah,
you could. There's a lot of independent. Well, it's almost entirely independent
independent
artists
artists.
that sell their music and merchandise through Bandcamp, right? Great site, by the way. Really good way of supporting independent artists.
Yeah.
But they bought Bandcamp, I want to say about 2 or 3 years ago. Uh, but it seemed like an odd choice, like a video game company buying this music company. And then nothing really happened with it. Like I think they ended up selling it to another company like Songster or something like that. But I think they ended up selling it a little while ago anyway. But it just felt like, especially hearing about what they're doing now, it just felt like there's a massive thing they could have used with that, where you could have, I don't know, like a way of promoting independent artists more through Fortnite. And of course,
Mhm.
everybody's going to want the big artists. I know that, but it could be something like, here's a song from, I don't know, if you have like this, and this, and you're hearing songs from these independent artists that you might not know about. It's like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, and then might make you want to go to their Bandcamp and look into that more. But I don't know. Just felt it feels to me, at least right now, and perhaps again, maybe just things I just don't know about the whole deal and everything, and the reason they even bought it in the first place, and why they ended up not seemingly not doing much with it and just selling it on. But it feels to me right now, at least, that could have been a huge thing that they could have incorporated in this. But hey.
I mean, so it depends on when they bought it, right? If it's around the same time, it must have been, issues between them and the artist and it being too much money or too much work to go ahead and license the music correctly. Or maybe it was before they even thought to do this with harmonics and they just got rid of it at the wrong time. But I know Rock Band used to have something similar to that. So I say back in Rock Band 2 or 3, they had this section called Rock Band Network, and they will still have the DLC, and either it will be at a standard price of $1 or maybe even lower than that. But it used to have independent artists, and I discovered a couple of artists through that. So
Mm.
yeah, but unfortunately they had to shut it down. I forgot why. I think they, Harmonix just started losing money or something like that. The case may be. Um, but either way, it was great. There's some songs that I still listen to that I discovered through Rock Band Network, and otherwise I would not have discovered anywhere else. Honestly.
By the way, I just looked it up real quick. So yeah, Epic Games, they bought Bandcamp in 2022, March
Okay, then yeah.
2022, and it was about a month, sorry, about a year and a half later, they sold them to Song Trader. So yeah, I guess this is all before
No,
the
no, that was during.
oh, it's Jorin. Oh, that's Jorin.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
yeah, they're definitely massive missed,
yeah.
massive missed opportunity. But oh well, oh well.
It must have been something where the artist couldn't agree with them because
Yeah, I remember.
Fuser shut down like 2022 or somewhere around that time.
Yeah, I do remember at the time when it was announced that they bought Bandcamp, that some artists on Bandcamp, some of the independent artists on Bandcamp, didn't like the idea of Epic owning them. Um, and the gist that I was getting, as to the reason, or at least the main reason, was that Epic seemed to be very money focused, and they were kind of worried that they'll make too many changes that don't fit in with how Bandcamp's been very artist first. That's kind of their whole thing, artist first.
Yeah.
And they're kind of worried that that might change. I don't think it did in the end, at least not to my knowledge. I thought, from my understanding, they really didn't do much with it, and then yeah, sold it to Song Trader, I guess, about a year and a half later. So But oh well. Maybe it could have been good. Maybe it could have been bad. I guess it doesn't matter anymore.
I mean, and it's never too late for them to do something similar.
Hmm.
You know.
All right, and so as for myself over the past few months, in terms of like my watching, I've been mostly watching like Disney princess movies actually. Hopefully
Okay.
be able to do a podcast with Celeste. It was her idea, by the way. It was her idea.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll be able to do that with Celeste, and we'll talk about Disney movies on the podcast. But I've been doing that, watching some Disney princess movies, and they're interesting, right? I mean, I've had some opinions and thoughts come up as to those, but we'll get into that as another time. In terms of games though, like I've been playing a lot of cheap games. So here's the thing: I have this YouTube channel from years ago that I started it, and over the past like I want to say like 2-3 years, maybe a little bit longer, I haven't really done anything with it. Like I have other YouTube channels that I've done stuff with, but this particular channel I haven't done anything with it for many years, and it just kind of sat there in a coma for a while. And I kind of decided that I wanted to revive it, wake up out of its coma. And the idea I came up with was to have somewhere where I just play these cheap games, and so yeah, that's what I've been doing, just buying these cheap games on Steam, playing them, and showcasing them on this YouTube channel. So yeah, that's been a lot of my gaming, and it's kind of crazy because you can get games for like dirt cheap on Steam in many cases.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about games for like £1, two, like that kind of price. Not all the games I'm playing are that cheap. Some of them are a bit more expensive, but you can get some real dirt cheap games. And granted, they're not all going to be good, right?
No,
Some
but
of
they
them
do have
barely
some
work.
gems. They do
But
have some
right,
gems. You just have to dig.
there's definitely some gems in there. Some real like games where you're like, man, this is actually like really entertaining. It's holding my attention. There's maybe some depth to it, So
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's been pretty cool. Like one game in particular I played recently was a game called I Ayako's Mission. It's like a shoot 'em up game,
Hmm.
and I mean you could criticize it on this, that, and the other. I mean the game was like I think it was like 80p. I can't remember exactly. It was less than £1, I'm sure. But yeah, you could criticize it on whatever because it's not, of course, going to be as fully fleshed out as something like Ikaruga, right? But even still, for a game that you paid 80p for, or less than £1 for, like it does quite a lot. It does quite a lot. So yeah, man, I'm just saying, like, there's definitely, and for me right now, I'm all about trying to just save my money. I mean, it's good to have fun, of course, and it's good to spend money on dumb things from time to time. But the fact that I can game, and another good thing about it as well is that it's so difficult to justify spending like 50-60 pounds on games these days, when most times, like more time, I just play them once, and then or if I even manage to even complete them, I might just play it once, just because it's like time. I've got this to do, got that to do. I'm trying to schedule my. I was telling you earlier, like I'm trying to be more intentional about making plans and stick to my plans. So that's one of the things I've been doing. In my calendar, I've got like my time in my calendar, right? Where I do whatever. I might play a game, I watch a movie or whatever. I'm not doing it for this. I'm not doing it for a YouTube. It's just my time, and I'm trying to do that, right? But even then, it's like, okay, can you help me with something? Can you? I need help. Oh, can you? You know what I mean? There's always something that somebody that needs your attention, something that needs something even to do, something that you gotta, So it's difficult to find time to just play video games or watch stuff. So like spending 50-60 pounds, and you got DLC and microtransactions and blah blah blah, and it's like I barely get to play it. I'll play it once if I ever get to play it all. It's difficult to make that decision. Um, so yeah, the fact that I can do this and just play a game that's real cheap, and if I don't complete it, I'm not that bothered about it. And if I get something that's really enjoyable and I only spent like a couple of quid on it, that's amazing for me right now. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's kind of where my mind's at right now. So yeah, playing some cheap games on Steam, and
But you also
definitely
have
looking up
Game
for the
Pass,
deals as
right?
well. I did. I don't have any more.
Ah, okay, okay.
I don't have any more. So Game Pass is really good actually, but For me, Game Pass is a thing where I'm gonna have it for a period of time for if I'm playing a particular game that's only on Game Pass. But once I'm done with that game, I'm just gonna let it go because I find like for the time that I get to play, it's better for me to buy the game, especially if I can get the game pretty cheap. And a lot of times, the games that I'm playing are usually older games anyway. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
I'm playing one game that one of the newest games that I'm playing right now is called Deathloop. It came out I think about 3-ish years ago, give or take. Came out on PlayStation, then it came to the Xbox, and I'm playing it on
Yeah.
PC right now. Um, and I believe I'm nearly, and I've actually played. In fact, that game I actually originally was playing on Game Pass. Right when I had Game Pass, I was actually playing that game, and I got to right about where I am now in the game, which is somewhere towards the end. And I just kind of felt like I'm paying monthly for this thing, and let me just let it go. And I ended up leaving it alone, and I actually got that game, bought it this time around, but I bought it on it was on sale for like 20 quid, right?
Okay.
And this was maybe I want to say about 5-6 months ago I bought it, right? um so yeah, for me it's better to do that, buy the game for like 20 quid, and even though it takes me ages to get through it, I've only spent 20 quid, right? Whereas if I
Yeah.
had Game Pass, it'd be what, 11, I think it's like, yeah, 11 pounds a month over the 6 months, and that's what, 70 pounds, right? It was around 60 or 70 pounds. That I would have spent over those few months on that one, and I just be playing the same that one game. So Game Pass is great. I think if you can manage to get through games like 1-2 games a month or something like that, or if you're doing it for the online stuff, that might be worth it that way. But I think for me and just the time that I have for gaming, it just was, I let it go. Never say never because I do think it's a great service, but yeah, it just
Yeah.
wasn't worth it for me specifically. Yeah, for those of you out there who got time, it's a great service and definitely a lot of value in having it. It's just not.
No, I understand that.
Um, but yeah, Deathloop is really good though. I do like Deathloop. Like I said, I was playing it on Game Pass before. I got somewhere towards the end, round about where I am now. Where I don't know if this is a spoiler. Actually, let me not say because it might be a spoiler, but it might be a spoiler. So if anybody hasn't played, I want to ruin it for you. But there's certain things you got to do, and then when you get towards the end, yeah, let me just let me just leave it. I'm enjoying the game so far. It's a pretty cool game. So yeah, hopefully I can complete that and then move else. Um, but yeah, that's been my game in the last few months. And oh, I've been watching Avatar, the new Avatar series. I started watching that, and that's
Oh
I'm
yeah,
only
what
on
do you think about it?
episode 4 so far, about halfway through it. I'm liking it so far.
Okay.
Apparently, I mean, I haven't done mad research on this, but I just saw something pop up on my YouTube a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday actually. It says something like, "This is why Avatar fans don't like the new series." I didn't watch the video because I just thought, look, I'm not got through it yet. I don't want any spoilers right now. But apparently, at least according to the video title, Avatar fans don't like it. I liked the original series of Avatar. I thought it was really good. Excellent show. And this show so far, 4 episodes in, I'm digging it. I feel like the humors fits. I think that the acting and the I mean, yeah, maybe some of the characters feel a bit at times, but overall, it's I feel like they're doing a really good job of retelling the story without just retelling the story. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's not beat for beat everything the original one did, which it shouldn't be, right? I don't think it should be. It's a different series. They're gonna have different ideas. And it seems the same, at least so far, it seems to be the same general kind of overall story, but they're just telling it in a way that I personally feel fits better for live action. I think if they tried to do the exact same thing that the animation did, I'm not sure it would work too well. And even when they did the movie, the M. Night Shyamalan, I'm sorry if I said that name wrong, but Shyamalan movie some years back with Dev Patel as Prince Zuko. Um, even when it did that movie had all kinds of problems, and it wasn't even because like the movie itself had terrible ideas. it was just like I feel like they try to do too much with the actors a lot of the times. Like they the a lot there they use a lot. Most of the actors were either very new to acting. That was like maybe their first film or their first anything, right? And they tried to do a lot with the actors that they just weren't ready for in terms of their acting ability, and it showed in that movie. Everything just looked mad awkward. I think with this one, it maybe has tiny elements of that, where it
Mm,
does feel like they're stretching the actors just a little bit too much because a lot of actors are quite young. But overall, I do feel like they're managing to stay within their ability, and it looks home and the show looks a whole lot better for it. The acting looks a whole, I feel like you. Let me back up a little bit. Let me try and explain what I really mean when it comes to movies and acting and da da da. Look, I'm no expert director. I'm not even a director. So take it for what it is, but pinch of salt, my non-expert opinion, right? Um, but I feel like you can have an actor who say isn't necessarily a good actor, but you can make them look infinitely better than they are by staying within their abilities and enhancing those, right? And
yeah.
it makes it look better. Well, rather than if you take an actor who isn't very good and tries to get him to do things that they just can't do, it looks horrible. You know what I mean? Right? And so I'm not going to say the actors in in this current show are terrible. I don't mean it in that way because at the end of the day I haven't seen them in anything else. I don't know how good they are. But what I'm trying to say is that it seems to me that they are able to stay within their abilities because their acting looks a whole lot better, and because it looks better on screen, storytelling seems a lot better. And especially for what the type of show that the show that the type of theme they're going for, it seems a little bit more grown up in areas, but at the same time, still a little juvenile as well. But it's a nice blend of the two, where it's not so serious that you can't make a joke, but not so jokey that you can't take it seriously. So yeah, that's what I think so far. Apparently, Avatar fans aren't liking it, at least according to I don't know. Maybe it's just that one YouTube video. You know, people on YouTube write all kinds of titles that just trying to get clicks
Yep.
and stuff. So maybe it's just that YouTube video that titled it that way. I don't know. I've not watched it. I don't want to spoil this just yet, but I'm enjoying it so far. I was a fan of the original series. Granted, I didn't watch the original series back when it came out. I watched it many years later, but the original series was great. The movie they made, maybe not so much, but this show, at least 4 episodes in, I'm enjoying. Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the Netflix version, their show yet. I
Mm.
might do it eventually, but honestly, first off, the movie is terrible. I just want to
Let's be
cement
clear on
that
that
it's
fact.
terrible, and the reason why is because it was poor directing and poor writing and poor casting. Honestly, it when you can have differences with when you're having an adaptation, that's fine. But when you make it too drastic, you have to justify it. Um, no matter how many incarnations of a character there is when it comes to fiction, uh, there's a root of that character that everybody stands behind. So, for example, like Superman, no matter how many iterations of Superman, there has to be this certain spark about him that delivers hope, optimism, perseverance, everything, right? And I feel like as much as much praise as Henry Cavill gets for his portrayal as Superman, like a lot of people before he got screwed over, um, we didn't like him as Superman. A lot of people did not like him as Superman, but he had the look, and as an actor, as a person, he was great. And those moments where he was, let loose to get away from the gloomy side that Zack Snyder was trying to portray him as, you got to see the potential of him being the ideal Superman. So when it comes to the movie with Avatar: The Last Airbender, the one directed by M. Night, it just they had Aang all gloomy, and the fight scenes were just boring as hell and not anything close to what the show displayed, of course. And it's not impossible. It's really not. Um, I got so bored with that movie, I actually quit before I finished it. But
Yeah, well, probably not the only one. You're probably not the only one.
I definitely do, I definitely believe it because like um it just was too far away from what was expected, from what was, the original and everything. It was too much. And that's how you lose fans because now you're just using the name of it.
Yeah,
And I think that's a lot of the problem when they come to do adaptations for like anime movies. Anime shows or whatever. You know, when you have the live action adaptation, usually it's so different that you're just using these familiar characters, I guess, and the concept of the story just to tell your own and make a quick cash grab. And that burnt a lot of fans. So now they're quick to hate on something. And that's the reason why it's like they don't like this new one, this Netflix one. But I've been seeing people actually talk about it and people who have given it a chance and they said, no, this is actually good. Sure, there's some changes, but this is actually good. And when it comes to YouTubers, a lot of times this is a fact. When it comes to negative videos get way more attention than
yeah,
positive
yeah,
videos,
yeah. Sure,
you know?
sure.
Because
You got to take it
people
with a pinch of salt sometimes.
yeah. So when people heard about this, they like, oh, I have to make the first video because this is going to be the first one that pops up. It becomes a job and it becomes a feeding frenzy. Everybody has to put out that video. So I'm quite sure a lot of people that hated on this series, they thought everybody else was going to hate on it. So they just, released that video as soon as possible. And that's that. They probably didn't even really watch the show themselves. They watched enough to go ahead and release the video as soon as possible. And that's it. Me personally, I have to watch it first, but I am glad. And correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong on this, but as far as I remember, the cast for Katara and not Zuko. Uh, I'm getting old. I
Okay.
forgot. Yeah, they got. How can I word this correctly? Appearance wise, right? I'm not saying that Katara and Sokka are black. They're not. But they did have a darker complexion in the anime, right? I mean, well, not the anime, but the cartoon series, the original series. They had a darker complexion, and the ones that they got for M Night was not even close. Not even close. Like, I, it's like the difference between, uh, let's say, Carlton Banks, right? That kind of complexion, not the new Carlton Banks, the original,
Okay. Yeah.
but the original Carlton Banks complexion to Eminem. That kind of difference, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. For me personally, it turned me off because I'm like, what? Why are we doing this? And I know it's not a huge deal to people, but we see it so many times that it's like, sometimes it's not about, oh, let's get the best actor and whoever's the best actor, let's bring them in. Sometimes it's strictly about something else. And people don't really want to talk about that too much. And I'm not going to go ahead and go into it and get all political, but I will say that was one of my biggest turnoffs. I don't like that. However, the new cast, I didn't see Soka yet. I saw that the actor that plays Katara, she looks a little closer to what is expected. And not only that, apparently, her ethnicity is actually what is expected, if that makes any sense. Not to say that Avatar is a real world, but it's based off, you know, things. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No. Sure. Just look at pictures of soccer now. Soccer now. Actually, I need to say his name right. Soccer.
yeah.
Um, it's kind of funny because I searched soccer avatar. The old school soccer comes up from the animation. The new
Hmm.
school soccer comes up from the current series. I can't see a picture of the one from the movie. They're just
The
trying to
one from
wipe
the
this guy from
movie,
the internet. Like, bloody hell, man.
yeah.
Wipe this guy from the internet.
I was really
So
like, I got offended. I got offended. That's how bad it was. But yeah, I'm willing to give the series a shot, honestly, because I really like the original. Um, I was a fan of Avatar. I didn't watch it when it first came out, to be honest. I watched some episodes, but um, with cable, and it's probably the same shit. It was hard to keep up with shows sometimes because they'll go ahead and do reruns out of nowhere. They won't even tell you what's going on unless you're looking on the internet for answers. So when it was coming out, I didn't know what the hell was going on whenever they had reruns, and I wasn't going to keep checking and checking every damn day hoping for a new episode. So yeah, I didn't watch the whole series until much later when it was all said and done, and I could look it up myself. So and I loved it. And I liked even the sequel, Legend of Korra. I like Legend of Korra.
Yeah, I like that as well. I
It
enjoyed
had
that.
some flaws, but I liked it. And uh yeah, I remember like being dedicated to watching that and catching the new episodes. Yeah. I actually looked up, oh, when's the new episode coming out? And I remember at one point they stopped showing it on cable because it was kind of partially canceled. And you had to go on Nickelodeon's website to actually watch the rest of the series. That was insane.
Okay, I mean that might have been different in yeah, yes. Actually, to be fair, I didn't watch it on TV when I watched it, so it would have been mad different. Because by the time I watched it, it was all out. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
I
at the
guess I
time
missed
when it
that
was
bit
coming
if that
out,
happened over here.
you're lucky because at the time when it was coming out, um, I guess the ratings dropped and they were going to just cancel it. They weren't even going to give them a last season. I might be skimping out some details or whatever, but pretty much that's the gist of it. And so, in order to watch the rest, you had to go on their on Nickelodeon's website where they actually posted it. Um, and yeah, I think it wasn't even partially can't like I don't even think it was that. I think they actually gave their time slot on the TV away to another show. And
Okay,
in order to
that
watch the rest
sucks.
of Legend of Korra, you had to go on the website. Yeah, it was disrespectful because it's a great story. It just had some flaws. It was like every now and again you get a movie or a show or a game, and it's like you have somebody in the writer's room, right? Or somebody above the writer's room, one of the two. And they said, shouldn't we do this? Shouldn't we do that? Shouldn't we add this? Hey, make sure to go ahead and have her in love with this person and have some conflict with that. It was so many weird moments. And but throughout all that, they had so many greater moments that, it was worth it. It's like if you're eating a plate of food and it's all mixed up like stir fry or something, right? You got some stuff that you don't like, and you're like, you know what, whatever is good for me, is healthy, I guess. I don't know. I don't really like this. But then you get to that core or that one spot in the bowl that you like, and you're like, you know what? God damn it, it was worth it. All through
Exactly.
the
So
Brussels
it's
sprouts and
the
all that.
everything comes together. Like it's the sum of its
Yes.
parts, so to speak. Like you rather than just picking that individual. I don't like this. Don't like. It's like how does it all come together? And if the end product is still worthwhile, so what if it wasn't perfect? Nothing's ever perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like look, don't be wrong. Nitpicking can be fun. I like to nitpick too, right? But at the same time, you also have to
It's my
understand that,
second nature.
right? You know what I mean? But as much as we can nitpick things, it's also important to be like, okay, cool, I am just nitpicking, and
Yeah.
cool, that's fine, but that's what we're doing, right? And but as long as you could still be clear that although this bit might have been dumb or this bit didn't make any sense or blah 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 blah, the whole as a whole, the show, the movie, the whatever, as it comes together, it was still I enjoyed. Um, But with that, I guess we could kind of move on into the next bit. We're just talking about a few things that we're looking forward to over the year. Before we
Mhm.
get onto the one thing I think everybody's looking forward to. Um, but yeah, is there any games, movies, shows, whatever that's coming out, or maybe have either just come out or maybe still to come this year that's got you excited? Is there anything on your horizon?
Honestly, as far as shows and everything, I've just been catching up on shows that came out. Like Succession, for example. I'm starting to watch that. I'm only in the first season. And it's really well, no, second season, and it's really, really good. Um, but other than that, the only other movie that I could think about that's coming out that I'm excited for is and I think it's coming out this year, is Godzilla versus Kong Part 2. I don't care what
Okay, I didn't
anyone
know it was
says.
Godzilla Rising. Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed part 1. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. So I don't care what anyone says. I feel like a lot of times people just want to talk shit about something, and
I mean,
we're getting a little too accustomed to that.
I mean, here's what I say about that movie actually, because I actually remember watching that on home theater. You know, this is like pandemic times where you can pay. It was like the movie come out in the cinema, but you can pay. I think it was like
To watch at home.
£16. Watch it at home,
Yeah.
and against my better judgment, I was like, yeah, let's try this. It's kind of a cool novelty thing that you might not get too many times. So yeah, paid the £16 to watch that movie, and here's I would say that it's a good film if I to watch in the cinema. Like had I watched it in the cinema, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Watching it at home, not so much. I mean, I've got a decent TV, I've got decent sound and all that kind of thing. But I feel like certain films pop when they're in a cinema, like you because you got the big everything, and I think that's what that movie really needs. Watching it at home, I feel that even unless you've got like an actual theater in your house, you might have a big TV, you might have sort of decent surround sound, but I feel like unless you've got an actual theater in your house, I'm not sure it's gonna pop so much. But yeah, that to me felt like I should have watched this in a you know, that's
I
the
mean,
impression I got.
yeah, it would have definitely enhanced the experience, but that's almost like any action film like that. Yeah, it's gonna definitely amplify the experience for it. But um as far as like for what the movie is, right? I feel like it was good. You wanted a fight, like when you're jumping into this kind of film, it's what's expected. Godzilla or some other monster is wrecking
Mm.
shit. There's gonna be a monster fight. That's it.
Yeah,
Now, one
it
of the
definitely
things
delivers on
that
Godzilla versus King Kong. Like, yeah, I think they had like 3, 4 fights throughout the movie, something like that. Oh, was that a spoiler? My bad. My bad. Sorry.
I mean,
I mean,
it's
it's
in the
called
title.
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
can't be too much of a spoiler. You'd
yeah,
hope a film called Godzilla versus King Kong would have Godzilla versus King. But then again, Batman
exactly.
versus Superman barely had Batman versus Superman. So I'm just saying. Actually, that's probably spoiler
But
too. Sorry, my bad.
well, that's a good spoiler, so people can save their time.
Sure.
But um, one of the things that held back Godzilla movies for me is anytime they added the whole human element. Because the thing is, what producers and I blame producers usually because most of the time it's the producers, the studios that have this strong influence on what needs to be done in the film because they're too scared to go against the grain. Um, but the thing is, people do not care. Now, if you're gonna go ahead and include humans, then you better make sure that they're actually fleshed out. Stop throwing in the same old typical thing, you know, that we've seen millions of times and we haven't cared about them to the point where every time they showed up, that's a bathroom break. We just go away, use the bathroom, come back, and wait for Godzilla to show up again or whatever. With Godzilla versus Kong, I did not feel bored. Uh, the human characters, a lot of actors I liked. They had the dude from True Blood that played Eric. I'm sorry that I don't remember his name, but I liked him. Yeah, they had Bryan Cranston, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they had Bryan Cranston. If not Bryan Cranston, then the other dude. He was like, "Let them fight." Either way, I remember having so much fun watching that movie, and the fights are great. And that's what the movie is about. The movie is about Godzilla versus Kong, and they focused on that. And I wanted to see more of that. And I'm glad to see part 2 coming out. I feel like if you don't like a Godzilla movie, you're not gonna like Godzilla versus Kong. You can't go ahead and expect to like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street when you didn't like it before. It's the same thing. It's just it might be better than the old movies, but if you don't like the concept, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah,
But
no, for
yeah,
sure.
but main
The
main point
fundamentals.
exactly. Main point. I'm looking forward to that. As far as games go, though, there's only a
Oh, sorry.
few.
Right, by the way, real quick, Alexander Skarsgård is the actor.
Which one?
Alexander Skarsgård.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No wonder. So I'm just gonna call him Alex because
Put some respect on his name, man.
I
Respect on his
cannot
name.
pronounce that. Hey, trust me, I'm putting respect by
I'm
not
probably
trying
saying
to
it wrong
pronounce
myself,
it.
to be honest. I'm sorry. It's a Swedish name, I think. Skarsgård. I think it's Swedish. I
I
might be
think so,
disrespecting him by even assuming. Anyway, but
but
yeah,
he's a good actor.
Alex.
I watched him in True Blood, and True Blood is a long, long show, and I was watching it as it was coming out. So yeah. But yeah, as far as the games, there's only about three so far that I can remember off the top of my head that I'm looking forward to because I haven't seen too many games that's not out already that I was interested in. Um, there's this game called Metaphor, and it's made by Atlas. So they're the same people that made the Persona series. So I'm interested in that game for sure. There's Senua Saga Hellblade 2. I need to play Hellblade 1. I haven't played it, but I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to be playing that pretty soon. And this game called The Last Sentinel. Now, The Last Sentinel looks like um it takes place in the future of Japan, and you're pretty much a cybernetic assassin or something like that. And you're protecting children. I think you're protecting children from these rogue bots. So that's what it looks like in the trailer. It looks dope. I'm hoping that is good. And yeah, that's all I'm looking forward to. I was kind of looking into this game. I will say this real quick. I was kind of looking into this game, Taxi Driver Simulator,
All right,
but then I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, nah, I
give
think
it
I
up.
might pass on this.
Give it up. I don't know. I mean, for myself, I'll say that I'm not. I mean, for games though, like I said before, I don't always get a lot of time to play games when they come out. Like Senua Sacrifice was an amazing game. So part two, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I probably won't get to play it when it comes out. I'm sure we'll see. Never say never, but we'll see. So
Yeah.
there's maybe not too many games that I'll say I'm looking forward to. Paper Mario though caught my attention because I guess it's being remade. Well, I guess it is being remade. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door because I've only played one Paper Mario game, which was the Thousand Year Door, and I played that back in the GameCube, about 20 years ago. That would have been like around about when that came out, 20,000 and something rather. Um, but yeah, it looks like they're remaking it, and I was watching the trailer for it, and it looks really cool. Paper Mario was just such a cool game. You know, so that's kind of caught my attention about some games I'm looking forward to, and of course, well, Senua Sacrifice or Senua's what's it called? What do you call Senua Sacrifice? Hellblade. Um, one sec. All right. So, Paper Mario, the original one was 2004. Okay, and then Blade two. Well, Senua Saga. There we go. Now we're now on track. Now on track.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Senua Sacrifice was an amazing game. I played that once. I tried to play it again. I got stuck, which is weird because it's like I've done this before. How did I get stuck? But yeah, I said yes. Senua Saga. I'm looking forward to that. Um, the movies. There's a few. There's a few. Let's go. Um, there we go. That's a few. So yeah, I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, I think is the obvious one, right? That's due out in July. Um, Doom Part Two is out today, I believe. Well, today as we're recording this, not necessarily today as this video. By the time this video goes live, it should be probably out already. But here's the
Mhm.
thing. I mean, I enjoyed the first Dune rather. Let me say it properly. And even the original Dune that was from the 80s, I think, the one that came out then. I enjoy those movies. They're very much sci-fi heavy, and I appreciated that about these films. And then, of course, we knew there was a Doom Part Two in the works from you know Doom Part One. It was a secret, but it's finally here by the looks of it. But here's the thing, I've
Yeah.
bruh,
Uh, no.
5. And here's the bro. Listen, I have no problem with a long movie. If it's good, it's good. I'll watch a long movie. I'm not doing it in the cinema. Listen, I need to pee. Do you know what I mean? I need to get up and pee. And I'm sure they're going to have an intermission and stuff like that, and which is what I assume they would anyway. And the longer movies tend to have those. But yeah, no. I would like to watch it in the cinema. I don't think I want to be holding my blood because the intermission would probably, I'm guessing, be about halfway in the movie. Nah, nah. That's a wait till I can pause as I need to. That's a wait till I can watch it in an environment where I can pause as I need to pause and not when they want me to. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause, no.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a wait. But that and then Knives Out 3, which doesn't have a date, but it's set for sometime in 2024. But Knives Out, the first Knives Out was great. The Last Onion was great. So yeah, Knives Out 3. Looking forward to seeing what they can do with that and how they could further turn the murder mystery genre on its head. Because yeah, the first two were great films. So yeah, looking forward to that as well. But yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be other things that come up over the year that I haven't thought of, or maybe I've missed that catch my attention at some point. Time to see how that goes at the time. But for right now, I think it's time we move on to the main topic of today's podcast. The game that's been in the works for many years, a game that people have been wanting for many years. Uh, it was officially announced, I think, in 2022. Um, a trailer was released just a few months back, just late last year.
Mhm.
It's been, I'm sure this game possibly could have come out sooner if it wasn't for the behemoth that was an online service. Well, we'll talk about it in a little while. But of course, Grand Theft Auto 6 is due out in 2025, actually. Due out in 2025. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's looking to be probably the biggest game of forever, right? The trailer looks amazing, you know. But yeah, let's talk about GTA 6. What are your thoughts? Let's start with the excuse me, my voice is breaking. Going for you people now, sorry. Let's just start with the trailer. What was your thoughts on the GTA 6 trailer?
um, it's not really too much for me to say on it because I'm always for gameplay, right? Because cinematics, they can make anything look good. I'm telling you.
Sure.
I've seen it plenty of times. Cinematics can make anything look good. But when you get into that gameplay, it's shit. Now, GTA already set the bar up high, but for me, um, and I'm picky. So what I want to have is more shit that's gonna go ahead and build that immersion. Now, from the things that I've heard about it, you know, it's that's what's getting me a little more excited about it. But at the same time, it's so ambitious that I have to see it to believe it. Now, back to the trailer. Of course, yeah, there's no way you could go wrong with it. I'm just glad that they didn't use the song from the weekend, because everybody, who was making the fake trailer and all that, they always played Blinding Lights. I don't want to hear no fucking weekend. Okay. I don't want to hear him anymore. He's everywhere. His music is everywhere. He's in Fortnite Festival. They had a whole season dedicated to him. God damn it. They got him on WrestleMania theme song for the past who knows how many years. I'm tired of his music. So I was glad that they used something different, but who knows? They might release a second trailer and then it's a fucking weekend song. But yeah, it looks great. I mean, but that's what's expected. It's expected for it to look great. Just like when a Dragon Ball Z game, not to get too off topic, but when a Dragon Ball Z game comes out, it's supposed to look good. But is it good?
Yeah.
Um, However, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's going to be, mind-blowingly good because apparently Rockstar bought the rights or whatever you could say, the engine 5M, I believe, that they started the whole GTA role play. Like they created the mod and
Oh,
everything
right. Okay.
everything that allows you to do the
Okay.
GTA role play. And GTA role play is, big. You could pretty much just do exactly that role play. There's people who could go ahead and play as a cop, and you actually have the functions of a cop. Um, you could go ahead and do functions of a heist and everything. Not something that the game already had. So these are all mods that they added on in order to add that whole role, that extra role and everything. So with that, I feel like if they bring that to consoles, and that's what it seems like it's going to be, it's going to open the doors for a lot of people to get into streaming, and if they're already into streaming, to go ahead and stream that, uh, and just open a whole new level of possibilities to what you can do online. For example, I used to love GTA 5. I loved playing it. But what stopped me from playing it was when they added too much chaos. They have flying cars now. They encourage the other players to go ahead and attack you and everything, and it gets fucking annoying. Like if I'm a peaceful kind of player, like I just want to do the objectives, earn my keep, and build my enterprise and everything. But then I got this jackass who keeps not kidnapping, stealing a jet and blowing me up every time when I start to do something. Of course, I'm going to get off the game. Now they changed it in their defense. They changed it to where you could do these things in a lobby by yourself, so you don't have to no longer be in a public lobby and everything. But by then, I already lost interest, so I don't even want to go ahead and have to relearn the game, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but now, with the news of them um, implementing the GTA RP mods and everything on console, so you no longer need this powerful PC and have to set up everything yourself. Yeah, that's gonna have so many people on that game. I mean, it's already gonna be a lot of people on the game, but it's gonna be even more people. People like me that quit the game and now I'm coming back, and I'm gonna be on that game for hours and hours. Because here's the thing: when you have a game like that and you get immersion, under control, right? That's where you're really gonna be making money. You want people on your game as much as possible. They're gonna have to go ahead and do something to give people, like, force people to take a break, because it's going to be that immersive, that addicting to almost anybody. You can't help it. It's just second nature, especially when you're a gamer. It's like when people play The Sims for hours and hours and hours. Imagine The Sims fused with GTA
I mean,
on the current gen
yeah,
console.
pretty much.
That's
But
yeah. I'm telling you now, parents better check on their kids, because you're gonna hear so many reports of people just falling out, having to go into the hospital because they didn't eat, they didn't sleep.
a little Timmy hasn't been in school for 3 weeks. What's going on? But yeah, I mean, in my opinion on the trailer was, yeah, it like you said, visually it looks incredible. Like, it's, I mean, we GTA have always done things based on real life places, as that in itself is nothing new. But the level of detail that you see in the city, and I ain't never been to Miami, and I'm looking at it like, yo. You know what I mean? That looks so detailed. And I watched a few other videos of people who have been to Miami, and they're like, yeah, they've pretty much got it spot on. And just the amount of like detail they went into in like the buildings and city, the environment, the artwork, the kind of the culture, the everything, and it's all kind of represented in the trailer in some way. Um, but yeah, no, that trailer was incredible in terms of like visually, like you said, of course, gameplay is king, and that's what's going to matter in the end. If you get the game, it looks amazing, but it plays like garbage, then it doesn't really mean much. But I mean, it's kind of one of these things where it's like GTA have a pretty solid track record, right? I'm
Mhm.
not gonna. I mean, to be fair, there's a couple of GTA games that I didn't enjoy, um, but that was more from like I just like expect like GTA 4, for example. I didn't particularly enjoy GTA 4, um, but that was more from like I just felt like it was just too slow moving for me. As far as like the game mechanics go and moving around and this that and the third, that was all fine. And this one, well, hopefully it doesn't move too slow. Of course, I have to pace it out. I'm sure it's going to be a big 20+ hour campaign experience, as games are. Um, so they got to pace out, have some good pacing. But hopefully have some good pacing. Um, but yeah, I mean, GTA 5 was excellent. The story, the campaign mode in GTA 5 was excellent. I feel like building from that, it's hard to imagine they're gonna screw this up. I mean, anything is possible. Nobody's perfect, and there's what I mean. I get that, but
Yeah.
it's hard to imagine they're going to screw this up, and especially the fact that it has been so long in the making. I mean, I saw something a while ago that said something like the PlayStation 3 had 3 GTAs, um GTA 5 had 3 PlayStations, you know. And it's true, right? It did, because it's so long. So now
Yeah.
GTA 6 is finally on the horizon. Granted, it's still a bit of a far away horizon, but it's finally on the horizon. It's been so long. It's like the pressure to deliver something that isn't just good. You know what I mean? At this point, it can't be just good. The
Yeah.
pressure to deliver something incredible, like absolutely mind blowing, is there, and I'm sure they understand that and they know that. And of course, there's the danger of overhyping something and kind of ruin it. You can potentially ruin your own experience by having it too hyped in your own head, right? I get that as well.
Absolutely.
um but that pressure is there, and I'm sure they understand that pressure. So it is, at least for me, I feel like the chances of them just putting out something that is subpar, even if you could say like, okay, it's not my favorite GTA, okay, they went along a path that maybe wasn't to my expectations. At the very least, I think you could be able to say in all honesty that they delivered something pretty damn solid. And I feel like what that's what they're kind of aiming for. Like, even if people don't necessarily like that particular direction, or they didn't necessarily like this particular story, at the very least they delivered a pretty damn solid game. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to overhype it too much in my head, trying to take my own advice, right? But yeah, it's just kind of hard to imagine them delivering a piece of crap. But yeah, as far as the visuals go, it looks incredible. It looks amazing. Definitely looking forward to getting back to Vice City, because Vice City, GTA Vice City, to this day is my favorite GTA game. And speaking of Vice City, and speaking of trailers, um, I did see a trailer that it was marked as trailer 2, right? So I clicked on it, and turns out it was a fake trailer. Like, there's like this,
Yeah.
it was a fake trailer. But nonetheless, they had something interesting in this fake trailer, which was the voice of Ray Liotta, who played Possessi in Vice City.
Yeah.
So now that we're going back to Vice City, granted this was a fake trailer and it's not an official announcement from Rockstar themselves, but could we could we be seeing Tommy Possessi in this new game? I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I hope we'd be seeing him in some capacity. I mean, I don't think he's going to be a playable character. If indeed he is in the game, I'd highly doubt that. it'd be cool if he was, but whatever. I doubt that. But it'd be I might just lose my shit if Tommy says he shows up in some kind of way, and they manage to keep that secret until you know you actually play the game, and he shows up, and maybe he gives you some missions or something. I don't know, but that I'll probably lose my mind if that happened. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you think we could be seeing? Would you want to see him? Do you even know what I'm talking about, by the way? Like,
No, I do.
did you play Vice City? Like, maybe we should start there.
Yeah. I played all the GTAs,
Okay,
after
cool.
3. I didn't play GTA 1 and 2 like a lot of people. But I played all the GTAs, even the portable ones. Um, but yeah, I watched the trailer. Um, I really I get why they name it like that so people will click on it faster.
Right,
But I kind of wish that people would just be honest, say fan made, because people will
right.
still watch it if it's good. Because somebody's going to watch it, and if it's really good, and it was good, then people start to share it, and then it blows up. But of course, when you're a YouTuber and everything, or you're a content creator in general, the faster you could get to that point where you want to get to, that's the route that you're gonna take. But it kind of tarnishes the video because you can see like the dislike ratio is way,
Oh,
it's
is it?
like
Okay, I'm gonna
way
have
up
that
there.
plug in for the city dislikes. But is
Oh
it is it
yeah,
that
yeah,
bad? Okay.
it's that bad.
Well, kind of serves them right, to be honest. Like I said, it was a good
Yeah,
trailer, but such a misleading title. Like if they called
exactly.
it trailer to concept or trailer to like I say, fan made or stuff like that, then
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think the
just be on the
site that
up and up
posted it is a
about it.
pretty big site as well, a pretty big channel. So
Exactly.
it probably would have got views anyway.
It would
But
have, because it was a good trailer. It was put together well. Honestly, the only thing I can nitpick about it really is the audio was kind of off a little bit when it came to the voiceover. That's it. I enjoyed it for what it was, but other than that, it was like, yeah, um, you didn't have to use that fake title. But anyway, as far as seeing Tommy Vercetti, I hope not. Only because like
okay,
um, one, it's kind of a touchy thing since unfortunately Ray Liotta passed away and everything. Um, but they don't necessarily need to include him in, and if they did, it will be kind of awkward because it'll be like a small little cameo, if anything. Because if you do anything beyond that, you're either using lines that you didn't use in a previous game, right? Or maybe you did and you're kind of like reusing it in a different way, or then people are going to speculate that it's AI, right? Either way, it's just not worth it. Um, unless it was something that was thought up way before and he got to do it before he passed, then there's no reason to go ahead and implement him. Just like with CJ, my personal favorite GTA was San Andreas, and in that one you had the main character, which was CJ. Now there was a cameo from the protagonist from GTA 3, but the difference with that one is the fact that, like, well, one, they consider this two different universes of GTA, right? When it comes to GTA 4, I think that started a new, like, its own universe. So Rockstar is technically saying that Tommy Vercetti never existed in this universe, CJ never existed in this universe, and so on and so forth. That's what they're claiming.
okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but they do have where you can see references to CJ, like and you could probably look it up, but they have a poster of CJ on an ad on a billboard or whatever, and they don't say it's CJ, but it's like speculated because of the ending on GTA San Andreas. Something like that is good enough for me as far as a cameo to Tommy Vercetti. And I feel like they are definitely going to do something like that to pay tribute because of the contribution of Ray Liotta and his passing. Um, it has to be. So there's going to be some tribute, and I'm looking forward to that. But as far as like anything involving that character directly, nah, I'm good. Even if they make a reference, which they have before in other games that came out after Vice City, where they made a reference to Tommy Vercetti, I think you could do like a mission with the his friend or the lawyer,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
he
yeah.
mentions like, yeah, I used to work with this guy, da 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 da. That was cool. So something like that, I'm good with. I don't want to see Tommy in the game though.
That's interesting. I mean, mentioning like about the voice work, and yeah, Ray passed away, and zoom
Yeah.
in. I mean, of course, these things take years to make, so it could have been that he's done all his voice work if he's in the game before he passed, or it could be like you say they could use like some kind of AI to they synthesize the voice and make it sound like him, or you could just get like a really good voice actor that could sound like him. But there's definitely a few avenues you take, but just with the AI particular, because we talked about AI, some while ago. You were very much like for AI, right, at the time. So like
Hmm.
if they did use AI synthesize Raylos's voice to voice Tommy Pizzetti in the game, you wouldn't be okay with that, or uh,
I,
uh,
I love AI, but I don't see the point of utilizing it when you don't have to. Um, so for example, there's no reason to go ahead and recreate somebody who passed away, their voice, for a story that they don't need to really be a part of. Um, yeah, you could go ahead and have a couple of moments and be like, "Oh, it's cool to have Tommy Vercetti and everything," but does he really need to be in this game? Does he really need to be in this sequel? It's it's two different eras, and like I said, even as far as what they're saying with Rockstar saying that this is two different universes at this point, um, it's like okay, I guess I could kind of see it. It kind of sucks, but it's whatever. And the more the game went on, I saw it. I felt that was very different. But I don't know with Tommy Vercetti. I just don't feel like it's worth. Not to say anything bad about the character, of course. It's definitely up there in my top three, if not my second favorite GTA game. But is he essential to the story to the point where we have to go through all this technology and everything and get his voice correct to quote unquote bring him back to life for this role? You know,
okay,
and
that's
if you
fair enough.
have him
That's
in
fair enough.
this, you know, what are you going to do with the character? Are you going to kill the character off? Are you going to have them ride off in the sunset? Why have them ride off in the sunset twice? It's just not worth it. And plus, it's a touchy subject for people. People are still, strongly against it. Um, yeah, it's not worth it.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, like, well, I guess in your view, it kind of just depends on the story and whether it's imperative the story or not. But I guess as long as it's not just some kind of like cheap throw in, just for the sake of throwing him in there, as something that is like warranted by the direction and the artistic credibility of the game they're making. Um, but yeah, like I say, it may it may maybe it might not be worth it. I mean, I'd be okay with it. um but me, I might be on my own with that opinion. So it may not be worth it. I guess what could be cool in terms of having, say, Tommy Vercetti in the game and not necessarily pissing off people who might not want to hear somebody or any kind of AI, try and recreate his voice or anything, is like you say, to have like a maybe more of like a minor reference, like maybe there's a hotel in the game that's named after him or something like that, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
or I don't know, that maybe somebody mentions that the former mayor Tommy Vercetti, you know what I mean, something like that, you know, is somewhere in the last 30 years, whatever. I mean, Vice City was set in the 80s. I guess this would be some 40 years later after Vice City, and
Yeah.
somewhere in between that, Mrs. became a mayor. I don't know, but you can make like a reference like that where it's like a cool thing for those who know. But at the same time, it's not they disrespecting the memory in any way of Ray Liotta by maybe having somebody do his voice or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But then okay, so now that we know something that you don't want to see in a game, what would you like to see in the game? I mean, apart from the obvious, of
Honest.
course, good gameplay, like good, yeah, yeah. What would you like to see in the game?
I definitely want to see more stuff that's going to involve immersion and customization. So, like with San Andreas, one of the top things that I really loved about that game was that you could do a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, they had other games that you could do that too, like GTA 4. You could go to a comedy club. You could actually sit there and watch a quick little short set of a real comedian. They had Cat Williams, Ricky Gervais,
I bet
and
it's good, yeah.
they had somebody else. I forgot who, but you could sit there and watch them do a comedy set. They had like two or three comedy sets. And it was actually funny. It wasn't like some low grade stuff. Yeah, some of the jokes were repeated, but listen, the fact that they're in the game and that you could do that, it's crazy. You could go to a movie theater and watch a little short film, if I remember correctly. Just anything like that. In GTA San Andreas, you could go to the dance club. You could, and then you have a mini game that you could go ahead and do your dance, or you could take your one of your girlfriends to the club, and you have a little cutscene. And depending on if they like the place or not, it determines what kind of cutscene you get. If you get a nice little
Coffee.
cutscene where they kiss, yeah, you go ahead and take them home for coffee. All those things, like it immerses you. So I want to see stuff like that. I do like the whole I missed, and I really wish they implemented that in GTA 5, but they didn't. Gang territories. I'm quite sure they're not going to bring that back, but I loved it. Um so if anything, if they're not going to do that, I don't see them doing that again.
No, what
uh
gang territories might be in there? Because I was reading I can't remember where I read it now, but one of the breakdowns that I was reading suggested that they think gang territories might come back, or at least gangs might come back in a sense. Like I think High Rollers were in the trailer, and they had like was it or the Thrill Billies was one of them. So yeah, there was just like factions or gangs could possibly be a part of the new game coming. So yeah, you might see that.
I would like to see that, but I just don't see them doing it. I would be really surprised if they did. Because I mean, as far as gangs, yeah, sure. They did that in GTA 5. They had the original gang, Ballers in Grove Street. So, to have them, and they actually did something disrespectful, in my opinion.
All right.
um, so CJ's original house, they changed that to Ballers territory. So now in GTA 5, when you go there, it's Ballers area. And you can never take it over. So it always irks me because that was, that was the spot. That's Grove Street. And then you turn it into Ballers territory. You don't even say what happened because now you're saying these are two different universes. But you have a reference here that's the same fucking neighborhood that CJ starts out at. Man, anyway. I
What
was
that was in
getting mad
GTA
all over
Five,
again.
the way they changed it.
Yeah, so all right. So in GTA San Andreas,
Yeah.
um, you start off in this house, which is CJ's mom's house.
Right.
Um, and it's spoilers for a game that came out when I was a kid. But basically the reason why CJ was originally in Liberty City, right? And he's coming back. The reason why he's coming back is because his mother was shot down in a drive-by.
Yeah.
So he stays at that house in the meantime. So you start off in that house, and that's the neighborhood that they all grew up in, and that's Grove Street.
Right.
So all of a sudden in GTA 5, right? They're back in Los Santos, where the same place that San Andreas took place in, and they turned that whole neighborhood into Ballas territory.
All right. Okay. I mean, I never completed GTA San Andreas. I guess I'm probably missed that reference. But all right. Okay.
Well, it's from the no, it's from the very start.
I mean, I know that bit you're talking about Son of Go. Yeah, I play. I know that bit.
Mhm.
But I guess just missed the reference because I wasn't that familiar with the game.
Ah, okay, okay.
But all right, cool. Well, disrespectful,
Nah,
but
not
cool.
cool. But yeah, so that was disrespectful. But I would like to see the game territory. So in GTA San Andreas, what you could do is at one point you start to run your gang, right? You get back into the gang life, and you could bring people with you, or you could do it by yourself. But you'll go into like they'll have two other gangs that you could go into their territories, and they'll be colored on the map. So Grove Street, your gang, green. The enemy's gang is purple for the ballers, and yellow for I forgot what they're called, but it's something with a V. And you'll go into their territory, start killing the gang members, and they will start like this wave of enemies. They'll come in, and if you complete the wave, then you take over that territory. So now, when you go in that area, you'll not only will the map be green in that area, but you'll also see your gang members in that area. And occasionally, they'll try to take it back from you. So you'll have to, like, if you're across the map, you have to drive there fast and defend it. So it was fun, it was intense, and it was immersive, and it was breathing life into the video game characters. So anyway, yeah, that's why I really want gang territories in it. I want to be able to go into places, like I said, dance club, having a mini game to go ahead and dance and shit. That's fun to me. Really fun. I love the car customization, but I think that's a given. I think and GTA 5 took that to the whole next level. Especially with their subsequent releases with the DLC and everything, like the lowriders and everything. How you could customize the inside of the car. It's great. You could customize the damn speakers of the car. So if you want your audio system to go ahead and be more basic, you could do that. I love that. I want to see that in the next game too. Um, and also appearances. So GTA San Andreas, another thing, you can go ahead and be skinny. You could be fat. You could be in between. You could be muscular. You could be very muscular. It depends on how you handle your character. So CJ he has a hungry meter. So you could eat healthy or eat, unhealthy. And if you're not running around enough, if you're driving everywhere and you're eating every time when you get hurt, you'll get fat. So then you could go to the gym and you could go ahead and build up muscle. Now, there's also a way to go ahead and he could be fat and muscular. So then that brings on a whole different physique. And depending on your physique, depending on your hairstyle, the people will interact with you differently. So you'll have even your main characters are NPCs. They'll say something about CJ, or CJ will go ahead and sound different a little bit. So if he's skinnier, he'll have a lighter voice, more less bassy. If he's fat, he'll have a more husky, out of breath kind of voice. This shit like that, little minor details. The fact that they even worked harder on that, you got to respect it, especially back then, because it took more work, to get it to work properly.
Okay, I mean, yes, I don't complete San Andreas, but yeah, I do know about some of those things you mentioned about going to the gym and getting big and eating too much, getting fat, etc., and how it affects his movements and running. And for
Yeah,
sure, I mean, San Andreas would have been 2000 thing, I think. Um, so yeah, massive detail. And I don't know if I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of that stuff, to be honest, personally, I would say I don't particularly care for. In a sense that I want it to be there, but also know that I'm not going to bother that much with it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like one of the things that put me off for San Andreas actually was the fact that there was just too much to do. I know you love the fact there was a lot to do, but I thought it was just too much to do. Um, and one of the things that put me off the first time I was playing it, or the first time I tried to play, I should say, rather, I've attempted it a few times since then, just kind of got bored. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of want it to be there, but also know that a lot of it I'm probably just gonna bypass. I'm just gonna be like either play it a little bit or maybe jump in every now and then. But for the most part, I'm probably just gonna stick predominantly to the main story. So for myself, I do want there to be a lot of stuff to do. Also, like I don't want to feel like I have to do all that stuff either. You know what I mean? Like as long as
Yeah.
I know that I could do as much as I want to do it, and then I can leave it alone, and it doesn't necessarily affect the main part, then I'm kind of good like that. And I think GTA 5 was like that. GTA 5 had a lot of things you can do, but then you don't necessarily have to do all of it. So I know I can just like, oh, I can mess around here for a little bit. I can mess around there for a little bit. I can just get back to the story when I'm ready, rather than feeling like I've got to do all these like trivial things, and then I just come, you know. Um, so yeah, as long as there's that level, then I think I'd be okay. Or if you do have to do it, then hopefully it does it in a way that keeps it interesting and keeps you engaged, where where it doesn't feel like a chore. You know, what I mean, if they do get to do all these side things and this there and go here, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the main story. Hopefully, it doesn't feel like it's a chore or just like it's just killing time. Where if they manage to do it in a way where it still feels interesting, still feels like something that I want to do, still feels something that that's exciting. Then cool. But if it just feels boring, uninspired, uninteresting, pointless, then I mean, like I said, they've been working on this game for a long time, so no excuses, no excuses. But yeah, I think the main thing for me is I'd want the main campaign to be mind blowing, and from the trailer and from what I've seen of it, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say it's definitely gonna be mind blowing. I mean, of course, it's not waits to be seen, but I do get the feeling that at the very least, it's not going to be garbage. That's my kind of feeling right now. It might not,
Yeah.
if it's not mind blowing, at the very least, it's not going to be garbage. Um, I think just the kind of premise of what they've set up with this girl, or lady rather, we put some respect on a on her age. She's not a little girl. She's a grown woman. Lucia.
Yeah.
You don't see much of the story they go with, but it seems like she was either in jail or ends up in jail at the end. Whether that jail scene is at the beginning of the game or the end of the game, I guess we don't know. But at some point you're in jail, I guess. And it's either how you got there or what you did after you got out of jail. Either way, it's kind of interesting, right? Because you get out of prison and it's like, okay, well, what you do now? Well, you got no opportunities, you got no this, you got no that, so you end up committing crimes. Or maybe it was a whole Bonnie and Clyde things that ended up in jail. Maybe the whole story, the whole game is about how she got to that bit in prison, or maybe it's a little bit of both. I guess we have a ways to be seen, but either way, it's interesting, right? Either way, it's
Yeah.
interesting. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what that's about and how that fits in with the whole game and how that fits with the story and everything that you need to do that surrounds it. Yeah, and the partner, there's an unnamed male partner in the trailer that people have been calling James. Apparently, there was a leak where somebody was called James, and that's where that name comes from. But trailer didn't mention his name, so it's just Lucia, a male partner, possibly called James. Um, it's assumed, at least from the trailer, it looks like they're in some kind of romantic relationship, but of course, that's not confirmed either. They could be just, close, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody's playing somebody. We don't really know, right? I mean, they were talking about trust and we've got to trust each other. Stuff. I think it's to say something like we've got to trust each other. And we're talking about if we talk about GTA, then one thing we do know is that trust don't come easy, and that sometimes you better not trust nobody at all, right? So maybe they're together, maybe they're not, maybe somebody's using somebody. We don't know, but again, it's interesting, right? It's interesting. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking forward to doing. Hopefully as we're playing the game, it kind of unfolds a lot of what that's about, and it could be what we're thinking, it could be nothing that we're thinking, but either way it's like, all right, let's do this, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope they don't go with the whole, again, betrayed by your lover angle. We've already seen that before. We've seen it in GTA 3. Um, Technically in GTA San Andreas, you know. I'm just tired of it. I just I think it'll be more heartbreaking to actually um get in the shoes of this character, Lucia, and feeling what she feels pretty much like seeing her try to achieve something, fall short so many times, and keep getting pulled away further and further from her goal. Like, I want to experience that. I want to experience the turmoil of it and the anxiety of it, the drama of it. I want a story like that. I want a story that's really just, how can I say? I don't know if you've seen the films. I doubt it, but um, there's two different films that gives me those kind of vibes. There's Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, and there's this movie with Robert Pattinson. I think it's called Good Time.
Yeah, not seen any of those.
So in short, those films, they're the kind of films that I don't even know if they have a genre for it, but the protagonist is trying to go ahead, achieve their goal, get something done, and an obstacle starts to pop up, right? Now, of course, this is sound like any goddamn story, but the difference with these two films is that they build on the anxiety of it because the character keeps getting in situations that are getting shittier and shittier and shittier and more dangerous and will make you, well, for me, sometimes if it gets a little too overwhelming, I have to pause the movie and take a moment. Now, I don't really like watching movies like that on the regular, but every now and then I need a movie like that just to wake some stuff up inside, to go ahead and feel anxiety from somebody else rather than my job or my life or whatever. And it's really intense. It's almost like for me the same high that people get from watching horror movies when they're fans of horror movies, and I can't experience that because horror movies don't scare me anymore. But yeah, with that film, like I remember Good Time, I had to actually pause it and take a moment because of how shitty the situations were getting for this protagonist. I highly recommend watching that movie. Good Time or Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is good too. But Good Time is way more intense in my opinion. And that's what I want to feel. I want to feel freaking like just on the edge of my seat, and not from a, oh man, this action scene is great, or damn, the cops are right on me. I want something crazy to go on in this story, something that we haven't really seen too much of. Because I don't need to see anything that I haven't seen before. I just need to see something that, is not too familiar. It's like, yeah, I had that food before, but it's been about 10, 15 years since I had it. I would love to have it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I mean I mean again going by the trailer, it looks like we could possibly see some real intense moments. Um that being said though, GTA as a series is kind of known for its satirical approach on things. So although it could get intense, it may not get so intense that it just stops being like you might not have to pause it. You know what I mean? Or, you it might not get that intense. Um, you know, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they if it does still take a satirical. I guess it kind of might. I mean, it looks like they've got a lot of meme references in the trailer with all the Karens, was it Florida Man and or the Leonida man they call him because it's Leonida, not and it's kind of the TikTok culture seem to be represented in this as well. So I guess we're going to see some kind of satire, whether it's done in that over the top sort of typical way, waits to be seen. Because from my understanding, and I know perhaps you could speak more to this, you might know a bit more about than I do, but my understanding, it is a lot of a different team with GTA 6. Like Rockstar went through a lot of changes um, with their teams. And I think one of the main creators, one of the Hauser brothers, isn't with Rockstar no more. I believe I think I read somewhere. Um, so yeah, we could be seeing a very, very, very different GTA, than we're used to. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
You know, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not as excited as everybody else. Um, like I said, the elements that I'm excited for are just that. Um,
Dan
but I
Hauser, by the way,
expect
sorry.
good, huh?
Dan Hauser's one that left. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, no problem, no problem. But I have fair expectations of it. I don't want to go ahead and expect too much. Like, again, even with the news about them acquiring 5M, the mods for the GTA RP, I'm gonna settle and relax and wait and see what happens first. For now, is it gonna be a good game? Yeah, I just hope it's not too much of a copy and paste from the previous game. I doubt it. I have faith that Rockstar could go ahead and do something phenomenal. One of their underrated games, in my opinion. I feel like not enough people are talking about it too much, and it is Rock Band, not Rock Band, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. Underrated?
Incredible. Yeah, I feel like not for what the game offers, right? I feel like the game should still be talked about
It was a
because
great game for sure. I don't know if I'd
it
call
was
it underrated. I
phenomenal.
mean, I feel like it's appropriately rated, or you feel like it needs more praise.
I feel like it needs more praise because the more I return to that game, the more I realize this game came out a long time ago, right? Not a very long time ago, but it's been a while. And the graphics are incredible. The mechanics are incredible. The fact that you could, you know, that he grows his beard out, he grows his regular hair out. You could get these haircuts and they grow in the way, each haircut, each hairstyle has its own growth and two different elements, whether they're properly groomed or not. The clothing gets dirty, all this stuff, right? And if you used a lot of the mechanics from Red Dead Redemption 2 for this new GTA, I'm gonna be hooked. I'm gonna be on that game like I'm already like dreading it. Like I'm dreading it because I'm gonna have to really utilize my Apple Watch to tell me to hey, take a break, walk
Man, turn
around.
it off, man. Take it off. Apple Watch, just allow it, man. Just man, take it. Can miss
Because
work
for
for a few
me,
weeks.
for me, I love games that get me immersed. And that was one of the reasons why I sunk so many hours into Baldur's Gate 3 because I got to get immersed into it. You make these bonds with these characters and everything. You learn about their story and you could go ahead and guide them in one direction or the other. Or you could let them decide for themselves. Things like that, where it's not just a script and that's it. That's what makes me stay on a game. That's what makes me loyal to a game. So, in GTA 6, I'm looking forward to it, but I want to see gameplay. Show me gameplay. Tell me more about what's actually confirmed rather than rumored, and we're all good. But, the cinematics and stuff, yeah, I mean, you know, anybody could do that.
All we're gonna have is rumors for a while. That's all we're gonna get for
Yeah.
a while. Don't expect nothing confirmed
Honestly,
for a long time. It's just gonna
Honestly,
be
I'm pissed
rumors
off that they even
for a
announced
while.
it for 2025 already. I feel like when it comes to games that are coming out that don't get me wrong, that's next year, but still, we're not even close to the end of the year yet. Wait
Mm.
till we're in the summer or we're in fall to announce that. Don't go ahead and announce that a whole year early and you don't even know when in 2025 you're going to release it. For all we know, you wait till December of 2025 to release it.
um.
What the fuck
Well,
is the point?
speaking of that, actually, because it may be earlier in 2025, and the reason why I'm saying that is because I just saw before we started recording today start for the podcast. The latest news on GTA is that Rockstar employees, yeah, employees, not, have been asked to return to the office 5 days a week. So apparently they were doing a hybrid, with the whole pandemic, a lot of offices doing, work from home days, work days, kind of hybrid thing like that. Apparently now they're being asked to return to the office for 5 days a week. For the final year of development, and reason given is because they just feel like you can work better when you're together. So if that's the case, and of course these are all like news coming out, how accurate it is, it's hard to tell. But if that's the case, then yeah, it could mean that we really are in that kind of final stretch. And one of the reasons, I'm not saying not the only reason, but one of the reasons why it's been a long time since for GTA 6 to even be announced is because there's been a lot, like I said, been a lot changed in Rockstar in terms of also their culture as well. So one of the things I was reading is that they're trying to avoid people doing the whole kind of crunch, last minute kind of crunch thing. So that's kind of stretched out the time frame from that respect. But so if we're in this bit where they say, yeah, we need everybody back in the office now 5 days a week, yeah, we could really be in that final kind of a road, if you will, to a 2025 and possibly an early 2025 release. Though I imagine you don't want to release a game in like January, but then again, it doesn't matter when they release it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter when they release it. That game's getting bought. You know what I mean? So yeah, we could be seeing earlier rather than later is what I'm getting at. Um, possibly, of course, because it's all again speculation, leaks, and right now.
Hmm. I honestly predict them to delay it. Not that I'm wishing that. I just I kind of expect them to end up delaying it. To be honest with you.
But if they want to avoid crunch, it's possible. I mean, bringing people back in the office a year ahead of time, I'm sure that's going to help. But depending on just how detailed and I mean, like we said before, like people have been wanting this game for a long time, and I'm sure they understand that they don't want to release any, because especially now in a lot of the gaming news is like a game gets released and it wasn't working. A game gets released and it's buggy, or it has missing features and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
although there's a lot of people I'm sure who would buy this game, and if it was broken or if the things weren't working, they're still gonna play it as much as they can, and still gonna buy the DLC, and still gonna wait for it to update. And there's people would do that, right? I get that, but at the same time, from Rockstar's point of view or Rockstar's thing, um, I'm sure they don't want to have that kind of release attached to their game. They don't want to have a buggy release attached to quite possibly the biggest game of forever, right? To be tarnished by, you know, wasn't able to control the character and you had to wait, 6 months for an update.
Yeah.
You should, even though it might mean 6 months later, everybody buys it and they make all their billions and billions and billions then. I'm sure as a company, they just don't want that news attached to their release, right? So yeah, like yeah, so bringing people back now, I'm sure is going to help, but depending on what needs to be done and how polished it needs to be, and making sure everything works as it needs to work, as I'm sure they want it to, it could mean that yeah, you know what, if they, and if they don't, and if they still want to avoid people crunching, still want to avoid that kind of 75-hour work week or whatever it is that people were doing, for like the last 2 months of a games development cycle, having people like sleep in the office for like 5 hours and then get up and then just working. If you want to avoid that kind of office environment, then yeah, you just might be like, yeah, actually, it's going to be 2026. That might. And like you say, I'm not wishing that. I hope that doesn't happen, but it's that thing as well. If because when you hear about crunches, everybody complains about it. Oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. This is horrible. Da, 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 da. But then it's like if you don't want that, you're just gonna accept the other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't get both. It's either you have people work ridiculous hours to ensure a game's released at a particular time, or you wait and it just sucks that you have to wait and you deal with
yeah.
that, but you don't complain because that's it, right? But speaking of that, real quick, actually, what's your thoughts on the office crunch and when you hear about it happening in these games and other places where people just work these ridiculous hours for a month or two leading up to a game release. What's your thoughts on crunch working thing?
You know, honestly, I never understood the concept of having to, announce games way ahead of time. I mean, of course, you always want to capitalize on the hype of it and everything, but at the same time, I wish game companies would be more like, all right, we have a personal deadline, but let's make it a realistic one. And we won't announce anything until it's pretty much done. You know, there's no reason, like that's why I was complaining about with GTA 5. There's no reason to announce it a year prior, especially with a game of this nature. People are going to get GTA 6 no matter what. Even if they say, "Hey, GTA 6 is coming out tomorrow." Of course, people will be like, "Hell no, of course it's not." They'll buy it. And it will still do as many numbers as it would have, even if it was announced a year prior or not. You know? Um, so of course it depends on the caliber of the game, but at the same time, a lot of companies they shoot themselves in the foot, and not just for games, but for movies, shows, whatever. When they make this early ass announcement and they're not even done. I won't, if I was in that position, I would not even mention anything yet. You could go ahead and mention pre-production. I would say, hey, we're in the pre-production phase for this. So be on the lookout. I've seen game companies do that before. They'll come on like the Game Awards show and they'll say, hey, we're currently producing, we're in production of this game. We can't wait for it to come out. We don't have a release date just yet, but we just want to let you know that we're in the early stages of development, et cetera, et cetera. And that builds up the hype. And people could go ahead and speculate. They could come up with rumors, make videos. Everybody eats. Everybody's invested. And just come out with an update every, occasionally every 3 months or so. But to go ahead and flat out say, hey, our game is going to be out within this year, blah, blah. And then when shit goes down, now you have to release it as crap or delay it. So now everybody's disappointed.
Yeah.
So I,
So
I I fucking hate crunch. I hate the whole idea of like you have to go ahead and announce as early as possible, whatever the case may be, whatever the fuck they're thinking when they do that. I really don't like it.
my understanding of that whole thing about release dates and announcing things and stuff like that. And I'm no industry guy. I'm just somebody who just sees stuff online and see what other people say. So maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe I'm wrong on this. But my understanding is that a lot of that, in terms of like announcing the dates and things like that, is more to do with the shareholders. Um, people who the shareholders who invest all this money into something. They want something. They want to know. Okay, it's because I mean, artistically, you want to take as much time as you want, right? But
Mhm.
financially and business wise, commit all that kind of stuff. People are like, okay, when's this game coming out? It's been, you know what I mean? So it's a lot. My understanding is there's a lot to do with more like shareholders satisfying that. So, we're gonna have a game release by then, and there's only so many times you can delay a game, which just becomes a joke, right? So, if it's just
Yep.
not ready, or if it needs a little bit more, that's where things like crunch come into it. Um, Now, as far as my opinion on crunch goes, I mean, I would say, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it personally. Like, if I worked in a place and they were like, yeah, now you're just gonna have to cancel all your plans and work here for 70, 80 hours a week for the next, you know, month or whatever. Like, all right, well, here's my resignation then. Like, so I'm pretty sure I wouldn't want to do it. That being said, I guess it depends as well. Like, how passionate am I about this? How much do I want something? I think that's an important question to ask as well, because it's very easy for us to kind of sit back and be like, oh yeah, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. But the truth is, when it comes to like promotions and getting ahead and getting into the right doors and getting into the right people in terms of what kind of career you're looking to have, let's keep it real. Like the guy who says yes to the crunch is more likely to be favored by the higher ups than the guy who said no. And even though it shouldn't matter, right? It shouldn't matter. One thing I've known from working in or offices, and one thing I've learned rather from working in offices is that when it comes to things like promotions and stuff like that, the job interview starts long before they advertise the position. You know what I mean? Like, so they
Hmm.
might advertise position today and say, "Oh yeah, we've got this new manager position coming up. Apply for it if you're interested." That job interview started long before they announced that. And it's they look at people looking out about, are you early? Are you late? Are you the type of person who does what they're asked to do? Are you the type of person who's always complaining? Are you the type of person who says yes to when they're doing crunches and things like that? All those factor into their decision. And depending on how badly you want that promotion, I don't care about the promotion. I'm at the point where it's like, look, you don't need to promote me. I'll leave. I don't care. But I get it. Some people do care about these things, and some people want to get that to the next stage in their careers and higher up and higher up and higher up. And these decisions, and these are things that you can have to think about. It's like it sucks, but sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do to get to where you want to be. So, like, if you are that kind of person where you're like, yeah, I want to I want to progress, I want to get high, I want to do this, I want to do that, and those crunch opportunities coming up, it sucks that you got to do it. But if you want it that badly, no complaints. You know what I mean? There's a
Yeah,
point where I feel like you got to ask yourself, like, I either want it that badly or I don't. You know what I mean? And if you don't want it that
yeah,
badly, then it's fine. Don't take it. But then accept the fact that somebody else who did take it and did do the crunch and did, work those ridiculous hours, that showed their higher ups that they're willing to do that little bit more. So when that job interview came up or when that job position came up for the next position, that guy's more likely to be favored than you are. And that's just the reality of it. That's the reality of it, that these things get taken into consideration. Oh yeah, it's fine. You don't have to do it. It's fine. It's cool. It's fine. You don't have to do it. But when that position comes up and you apply for it, and the other guy applies for it, and that's the guy who was like working all those hours and showing up and putting an extra this and extra that and da 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 da. Don't be surprised if that guy gets promoted and you don't. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So like, yeah, for me, I wouldn't want to do it, and I get like you say that it sucks that people work these hours, and nobody should and certainly nobody should have to work these hours. And furthermore, it sucks that when the positions come up, when the promotions come up, that these things get taken into consideration because, like I said, they shouldn't be. Not really. They shouldn't be. But let's keep it real. Like if you owned a business and you're looking to promote people, looking to promote somebody, you're more likely to go with a person who's been consistently showing that they're down. You know what I mean? Rather than a guy who's only does the bare minimum. Because that's me. I do the bare minimum. You know what I mean? If you had to choose between the guy who does the bare minimum and a guy who's showing up all the time, let's keep it real. You go with a guy who's showing up. You know what I
of
mean?
course.
So yeah, I don't like it. Like you say, like you saying, like I don't like it either. But all at the same time, if it has to be done because that's the nature of the business and those opportunities are coming up, and you're choosing to do it because you feel like that's what you need to do to get to where you want to be, no complaints, no complaints. You know what I mean? That's it. You made
Yeah,
that choice. You know what I mean? Made that
yeah,
choice, so no complaints. But if you're gonna do it and then bitch about it afterwards, nah, I'm sorry, but unless you're actually being forced into do it, like you're being told like, oh, you got to do it or you're fired. The circumstances like that, then okay, yeah, then we could talk about it. But if you're given a choice, granted it's a shitty choice because it's a choice, but it's not a choice. I know. I've worked in offices, I know. But if you've been given a choice, then as far as what you decide has to be like, how much do you want these opportunities? And if you want it that badly, no complaints. If you don't want it that badly, that's cool too. But yeah, just don't be surprised.
yeah.
But yeah, a little bit of a little bit of a tangent on what we're talking about. But yeah, with GT, also with Rockstar, sorry, like it seems like, at least from what I'm reading anyway, they're trying to avoid going down those routes. So if that's the case, then yeah,
I really
delays.
hope so.
Yeah, delays likely. Expect delays. Hopefully not, but yeah, expect delays because you can't have both. Well, not
Yep.
usually anyway. Not usually. Um, let's talk about something else real quick. Actually, something that I've seen going around, and kind of a non-issue as far as I'm concerned. But I do want to get your thoughts on this. So this is the first playable female protagonist in a GTA game. GTA as a game series has been around since like 1990 something with GTA One, which you said you never played. By the way, I did play GTA One. No, I didn't complete it because it was way too hard, and it wasn't really that good. And no, here's the thing about GTA. Actually, let me come back. One sec. GTA One was a good game in my opinion, but I just felt it was poorly executed in how it played out. I never played GTA 2. There was a GTA London, and there was two GTA London games. Never played those either. But then GTA 3 came out, and that just flips everything on its head. Amazing, minds blown. And then yeah, here we are. 20 whatever years later. But anyway, Lucia is set to be the first female protagonist in a GTA game. So that in and of itself is a pretty big deal. That being said, it shouldn't matter because end of the day, whatever, equality, right? But as these things go, as Rockstar gone woke, that's what people say. Rockstar's gone woke, and to me, it's a non-issue. It's one of these things that people just say because like one, they probably don't even know what woke means, right? That there is that whole
Yep.
thing. There's women existing. Oh, it's woke. Black guy in the game. Oh, that's woke. It gets to be a parody in and of itself at this point. But
Yeah.
what's your thoughts on that on Lucia being the first female protagonist? Does that matter to you? Do you care? Is it a big deal? Do you? Well, you tell me. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't care at all. Like, as long, listen, any protagonist could be trash, any protagonist could be great.
Hmm.
As long as it's that, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. As far as that whole woke thing, honestly, I feel like companies, they purposely have people using burner accounts just to go ahead and start some controversy so they get people talking about it. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's the way how they promote it and everything. Me, for anybody that actually believes that shit, you need some therapy or something, in my
Hmm.
opinion, because uh, it's like you said, they don't know what that means. For me, woke, if anything, is when people, they what's the word for it? Um when I try to overcompensate, like say, you're the first black guy that's been in this, this non-black area pretty much in a long time. And I'm doing everything. I'm like, oh, we gotta put hip hop on, put a poster of Tupac on the wall, overcompensating and all that. That's when I'm like, okay, woke, if anything, but you'll never hear me saying it. It's just more, I say it for what it actually is. Yeah, I don't know why I'm blanking on the fucking word, but when you're overcompensating, just to go ahead and fluff somebody up to make them feel better and more accepted and everything. It's like, no, just treat the person regular as you would treat anybody else,
Hmm.
you know, and that's the respect that you can give. And that's what I want. I just want this character to be treated as anybody else in her shoes. That doesn't mean like treat this female character like she's a male character, because there's differences between that. There's differences between what a man goes through and what a woman goes through typically, right?
Yeah.
And we do have similarities as well as differences. So seeing what she may go through, like shit, if you're a character, you're a female character, you're Lucia, and you might have a male character hollering at you or whatever, catcalling you. That shit happens. Is that gonna go ahead and make me go like, oh, now they're trying to shove uh this struggle down my throat. No, that shit just happened. So we see it all the time. Shit, I'm guilty of it of it sometimes. If I see a woman walking down the street and she got a big ass, I'm going to look sometimes.
Damn.
You know? Yeah. So if I imagine you're playing as that character, and then you're walking down the street, you're wearing these short shorts. You know, if you happen to be wearing short shorts for whatever reason as that character, whatever, right? But main point, you might be walking down the street and you might have a male character that holler at you, be like, damn, or something like that. And it's GTA, so that's what would be expected, right?
Mm,
It's fine because that's utilizing the circumstances that you're in to build the setting that you're playing in.
yeah.
That's fine. So I'm all for it. I like it. I just don't want anything that's gonna do not overcompensate. Do not just do you. You know, they've been doing consistently good for these past games, right? And we're talking about the main ones like GTA 3, GTA San Andreas, Vice City, 4 and 5. You know, just don't fuck up the formula. Keep doing what you're doing, and that's it. That's all I would recommend, and that's all I seek. Just keep it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And just to what you described about overcompensating, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't even call that woke. That's just being dumb.
Yeah.
That's just being
Yeah.
dumb. I mean, woke for real quick for those who might not know, really just means to be aware. It just means to be aware, like typically speaking about, some kind of injustice, like some racial injustice, but it really just means to be aware, like understand that, there's things that happen in this world that aren't always to your benefit. Some people out there do things that, might not benefit you or might hate you on a level that you might not always fully realize right away. And if you're asleep, you're not going to notice it. So stay woke, you know what I mean? To be aware. That's really just what it is, to have an awareness of certain things going on that could happen. And there's nothing wrong with being aware that certain things could happen because, like I say, not
Mhm.
everybody's out for you. Not everybody's working towards your benefit, for one reason or another. But yeah, to what you described about that overcompensation, that's kind of how I felt about Doctor Who, the Jodie Whittaker run. At least maybe not a whole run, but certainly the first like 4 or 5 episodes. It just felt like, okay, you got Jodie Whittaker, first female Doctor, and it's just like every episode was like, I'm a woman. Women do this, and women did this, and women have. And it's like, okay, cool, but what's the damn story? Like, you know what I mean? There's a point where it's like,
Yeah.
I get it, dudes. Like, are we gonna do this every single episode? Like, come on, So yeah, there's a point where it's like, yeah, like you say, just you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Like, it's a character. Give the character respects it deserves. The fact that it's now being played by a woman or for the first time, or whether it's a black person for the first time, or this thing or this race for the first, whatever it is for the first time. That's cool, right? And I'm not even saying ignore that, because then, like I say, it's significant, especially if it has been a long time and it is the first in a long line of things. It's significant. I'm not even trying to deny that or anything. But at the same time,
Yeah.
as far as the product goes, yeah, give the character respect it deserves, because, like, I mean, I don't. I mean, to be honest, I kind of highly doubt that they're going to do that sort of thing, because, CJ, I believe, was the first black protagonist in the
Protagonist.
GTA game, right? Um,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah. CJ was the first. And granted, I didn't complete the game, but some perhaps you could speak to this a bit more. But to my memory of it, they didn't spend a whole lot of time going about, I'm black, I'm black, I'm black. I mean, I know they use the word nigger a lot in that game, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like a whole thing, right? Or am
No,
I
it wasn't.
misremembering?
No, it wasn't. They had any moment that they pointed out that he was black, it was like brief, and it was like, you know, any other story. It blended in so well that it wasn't like a laser on the screen saying, "Hey, that's the moment." You know, they didn't
Mm,
point it out like that. It was more like you end up on the countryside, and he's from the hood, so there's like, if anything, there was like
Well,
one
yeah,
moment, but it's like you have to take that moment. It wasn't anything where it was like record scratch. There's
yeah,
there's a black guy in here. Oh my god, and that's that. Like, nah.
yeah. And let's talk about Martin Luther King and his dream. You know? It's a whole thing. It's like, all right, cool, doing. Right, you know what? So yeah, I mean, I did a cab work, and I get this passenger one time. Um, I don't know how old he is, but he's an older gentleman, maybe in his 60s or older, and he's sitting up there, we're talking, and it was just so awkward because I mean, he was a cool dude and everything. It wasn't like rude, but he was asking me where I'm from, and so I say London, and he goes, "Oh, what about your parents?" That's what he really, what the whole thing. Where you from? No, where you really? It's kind of like that a little bit. So what about
Yeah.
your parents? So I'm like, oh, they're from Nigeria, and he's like, oh, I spent some time in Zimbabwe. And it's like, okay, like, what? You know what I mean? Like, are we doing this? So are we really doing this? And at the end, he was like, "See you later, my man." And he doing like the fist pound, and like, all right, it's just awkward. But right, there's that kind of thing where it's like it feels a bit like overcompensating, or maybe not so much. Maybe that's not the right word in this specific circumstance, but that kind of thing where it's like it just doesn't need to. We don't need to do this. You know what I mean? We don't need to do this. And yeah, I mean, I doubt they're going to do that with this game. I feel that's highly unlikely. But I get, like you say, we'll wait till we see. We want to see gameplay. But from the trailer, at least, it doesn't seem they're going to go along that route. I mean, they certainly had some ass in that trailer. So, do you know what I mean? They had some ass in that trailer. So, I doubt it. I'd imagine you probably will see some catcalling actually as you're playing the game and kind
Oh,
of running that
definitely.
street. And it'd be interesting to see what you can do with that. Like if you could just like run to people and punch them in the face or something, like don't talk, respect women, maybe do something like that. That might be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, like I think for anybody just going on about, oh yeah, Rockstar's gone woke, they're that kind of thing. I just like I feel for the most part is people, what number one, they don't know what that word means. Two, they're either just looking to just be dumb on the internet or whatever. Um, but yeah, like I'm personally not concerned about Rockstar taking an approach that doesn't fit in with what GTA is fundamentally about, which has always been, you know, taking a piss, satirical, um, crime. Uh, I mean, I've seen people use the word crime simulator. I don't think that's quite accurate, but crime focused at least game, and it's always done it in a way that yeah, just kind of shine a light on certain aspects of society and culture. And this looks to be continuing that tradition, just in a more modern way with social media and memes and and things like that. People trying to get famous on the internet, and it looks like it's going to be focused a bit more on that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not concerned about GTA 6 doing anything like uh, uh, highlighting the fact that she's a woman every 5 minutes, and trying to do some kind of, I don't know, like educational thing about the history of the suffragettes. You know what I mean. I feel like that's highly unlikely. I feel that's highly unlikely. I mean, never say never, and I could be wrong, but yeah, I personally feel that's highly unlikely. But see, we'll see.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so but yeah, there is a male possibly protagonist in the game as well. What do you think of this unnamed male character that people call in James? What's your thoughts on that? Do you think he's going to be somebody that you play as? Or do you think he's going to be somebody throughout the game? Or what's your thoughts on that unnamed dude? Or is he
I
just there
mean,
to satisfy the? Rockstar's gone woke, people. You got a man too.
Um, to my understanding, it's gonna be like two playable characters.
Okay.
Um, Lucia and then this white guy. That's I don't think he's in the trailer. I don't remember him being in the trailer, but it's like this white guy. Um, it's cool. I mean, it worked out in GTA 5, and it helps spread out the game. I mean, it kind of gives everybody an option. If you get tired of one character, you go to the next, and vice versa. I really like the concept in GTA 5 because you can actually run into the other characters and have little interactions. And you kind of, if you switch to another character, you kind of see what the hell they've been up to because they don't just stop and stand still and wait. It's again, it's like Sims. They continue doing what they're doing, and when you decide to play with them, you take over whatever the hell you're in. So if you're in a situation like you're switching from Michael to Trevor in GTA 5, you might be in a damn um, cop car chase and trying to escape the police because of
Yeah.
whatever the hell he was doing at the time.
Oof.
So
Yeah, fair.
I
I think
love
that happened to
moments
me as
like
well,
that.
actually.
Yeah, so I love moments like that. So I'm
Uh,
all behind that idea of having two protagonists, as long as it never gets too crazy. Three is enough. Two is good enough for me, but three is like, all right, no more.
yeah, man, I'm not sure I'd mind two playable characters either. I would say that I'm kind of hoping it is just one though. Um, I kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, GTA 5 was great, and I really enjoyed switching between the characters. And I feel like that was cool for what they did there. But I'm kind of hoping that this one is just one. I mean, if it is two, then cool. I don't feel like I'm going to hate the game just because it's two. I mean, I don't. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. But I will say that personally, I'm kind of hoping it's just one that you stick with throughout the game and just like follow this one person's story, um, from beginning to end, or end to beginning. I mean, we'll see what the order they go with. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's just one. But if there is two playable characters, then yeah, that could be cool too. Like I say, it worked really well with GTA 5. Um, but then GTA 5, like you saying, like there were people doing different things, and when you stop, they go off and do their own thing. These two characters, at least according to the trailer, they seem to be a bit more together. So if you're switching from one to the other, it's like, does that work in the same way? Is one just gonna go off
Well,
somewhere, or are they sticking with
actually,
you?
I
Or
that's not the other playable character. I don't
oh wait,
think.
sorry, no, you said yeah, it was some other dude, wasn't it? Yeah,
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 I
some other
think that's
dude.
just one of the supporting characters. At least for Lucia's side. I see them releasing a trailer circling around the other protagonists later on. That's why I see them doing. That's the most realistic way, and that's kind of the best way to do it too. You get a Lucia trailer, then you get well, I guess his name is James trailer, or unless they're talking about the guy that's in the trailer right now.
James
But yeah.
is a guy that's in the trailers right now, the
Oh,
one that
okay,
was
okay,
in bed with Lucia.
okay.
That's who I mean, they don't name him in the trailer, but I've just seen
No,
people
I get
refer to
what
him
you
as
mean.
James. Apparently there was a leak some years back, and there was a guy called James. But then again, James could be the white guy that we play as. So
Yeah.
or maybe James was just a red herring. Rockstar just threw a name James in there because they knew it would get leaked. And I'm like, yeah, let's send him on a wild goose chase. Wonder who James is. But yeah, maybe James was in the trailer. Maybe James is the guy that you're referring to, or maybe James is somebody else completely, or maybe James is not in the game at all. Well, that always be seen. But yeah, James, as far as I know, or as far as I'm seeing, um, is being referred to the guy in this trailer that got released is being referred to as James in some circles.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not actually named in the trailer, so we don't know what his name is.
Yeah, I've seen what is it? Some of the leaks or whatever. So I'm not sure if I already seen the other protagonist. I believe I have. Um, because if I'm not mistaken, in the leak you do play as him, but Who knows? I know the closer we get to the actual release date, that's when they're gonna release official stuff. Right now, it's a lot of hearsay and just speculation. Yeah.
So let's talk about one last thing, or perhaps well we'll see, maybe one last thing, maybe two last things, we'll see. One last thing for now, and then we'll decide later. um, but it's very likely the map is going to be like from what I'm seeing, they reckon at least twice as big as J5, and that was a pretty big map. So it's very likely this map is going to be. What do you think that means for an online service? Because one of the reasons why this game took so long to come out is because GTA Online was such a behemoth, right? Like that was making money for these guys. Like they were making billions, from GTA Online. So like,
Yeah.
how do you feel like that all fits in with going into GTA 6? You've Because to me, I feel like the best thing to do is to have the online mode completely separate from any single player game and just have two different things. That's how, in my mind, is the best way to go forward. But how do you feel like having a GTA 6, having this massive map, and then having an online mode? Because I'm sure this game is going to do well, but maybe not everybody buys it right away. So you're going to have that period of time where some people don't have it, and this, that, and the third. How do you think this all fits in, or what to you is the best way to fill it all together?
In what way do you mean? Because I mean, I know that GTA 5, is separate from the online play, but what exactly do you mean?
Like, okay, so my feeling is that GTA Five, GTA Online, excuse me, was such a big thing, right?
Mhm.
And they were updating, they're still updating it now, right? And I'm sure they don't want to just stop that or be like, GTA 6 Online. Because if you do that, it's like now everybody's got to. I mean, like I said, people are going to buy this game. I'm sure. I don't have to worry about people buying this game, but at the same time, it's like there's always going to be that period where not everybody has it right away, right?
Yeah.
So if you just went GTA 6 online and then you got GTA 5 online and they're separate, then you got two separate online things. I'm thinking the best thing to do is to have GTA Online as its own thing, kind of like a World of Warcraft. Just be its own thing. Upgrade that as you need to, but have it separate from GTA 6. That way you can still keep the online thing, have that, and then GTA 6 just its own single player game. That to me is the best way going forward, right?
Mm.
But what do you think that's ideal, or do you think something else is better in terms of like having GTA 6 maybe should have its own online mode because it's likely to be a massive map anyway, and having that online as well is the best right there. Like, what do you think?
I think they should just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just pretty much the same way how they have GTA 5. They released something where you could go ahead and buy GTA Online just to play GTA Online, but you don't have the base game. I think that's shitty. I think that's a cash grab or whatever. Like, just have the goddamn game all together. I don't know. I don't like the idea of having two separate parts because honestly, it also confuses the people that are buying games for their for other people, like whether it's their spouses or girlfriend, boyfriend, or even kids. And say what you will, but that's exactly what's going to happen. Parents are still buying their kids these games. I mean, that's how I got the game, and that's not going to stop anytime soon. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of overcomplicating things. Just have me be able to get on the game, and when I load the game up, I could choose if I want to play the single player or online. And then if I'm in the single player, I could switch to online, just like GTA 5, and vice versa.
Right, so just a slight thing because just want to check something you said about GTA Online. GTA Online is actually a free to play now, so you don't actually. So yeah, you don't have to buy the base game, but you actually don't have to buy GTA Online. It's actually a free to play game. Of course, you pay stuff for in the game or the dark cards or whatever. But yeah, GTA Online you can just get for free. Um, but yeah, I think having an option inside GTA 6 that still says click here to play online or whatever, press here to play online is not a bad idea. But I think if they're going to do that, it should take you to the GTA Online that already exists. You know what I mean? Where that's
Mhm.
just there, and you don't have to. I mean, because they're going to keep upgrading GTA Online. I'm sure as long as people keep playing, they're going to keep upgrading it. They're going to keep adding to it. They're going to keep doing this, that, and whatever to it. Updating this, updating that, adding this, adding this, adding that, whatever. So I feel like if you buy GTA 6, there's a thing that says, yeah, here, GTA Online, click there, but it's the GTA Online that exists rather than a whole new GTA Online. You know what I mean? I feel to me, that feels like a bad idea to have a new GTA Online with a new map and a new area and a new. I feel like just add that to the existing one, you know, um,
Yeah.
and maybe have just one GTA Online with this huge, even huger map, rather than having two separate onlines. Um, but yeah, we'll see what they do. But that to me feels like the best way forward. One GTA Online with one massive map, ideally free to play as well, in the sense that you can um, just have DC Online and you could, maybe get the new maps for free as well. Or maybe you pay a small, I don't know, maybe you have to pay a small fee, but you don't necessarily pay like a dumb money for it. But have a separate GTA Online that has the massive, massive map in there. And then GTA 6 can just be like its thing, the option to go online, but it's an online that already exists. If that, yeah, is that making sense? By the way,
No, I get what you mean.
okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, check my notes real quick. I think we talked about everything that I've noted, everything that I've felt or wanted to say. Is there anything that you wanted to add, or anything that has been mentioned that you feel that we still need to talk about?
No, I feel like we covered everything, honestly, and then some.
We did quite a bit today. We did quite a bit. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it is all rumors and speculations. I mean, ultimately, and that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about now, and just things that we'd like to see and things we hope to see. But I think ultimately, in the end, for me, just and I don't want to speak for you, but I imagine you kind of feel somewhat similar. Is that you just want it to be a great game, regardless,
Oh, yeah, of
and
course.
whether we might be saying, "Oh, we like to see this, we like to see that," but even if those things aren't there, if it's a great game, it's a great game. You know what I mean? Like, and that's really the most important bit, that you want to play something that from beginning to end, you're just amazed by it, or at least impressed by it, or at least just enjoy the damn thing,
Yeah.
and ideally, hopefully, it's not a botched release with bugs and some stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully it's just I mean, it looks amazing. The trailer looks incredible. A lot of detail that went into that trailer. DC has a great track record with its games. And yeah, hopefully it's just a continue of that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's all we could really hope for and, wait and see.
Indeed. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode of the Uncivilized Art Podcast, the first episode of 2024. If you have any suggestions or recommendations or things you want us to talk about, drop in the comments, or hit us up on Twitter at Uncivilized Art. And it's uncivilized with an S, by the way. We spell it the British way here. Thank you very much. Uncivilized Art at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and all them places. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now. So guys, thank you for watching and or listening. And until whenever, if ever.